you up in boom, 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 boom. Tell me I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Oh, 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 life could be a dream. Ain't I ding dong, plans would come true. Ain't I ding dong, spend my whole life loving you. Life could be a dream, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Ain't I ding dong, a-lang, a-lang, a-lang. Boom, boom, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum.
Yeah.
Ain't I ding dong, a-lang, a-lang, a-lang. Boom, boom, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Oh, life ain't a ding dong. If I could take you up in boom, 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 boom. Tell me I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Oh, 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 life could be a dream. Ain't a ding dong.
Alright guys, so today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be short. Well, I'm going to try to make it short. For the most part, it's not going to be really me doing anything to the car. It's a fair warning now. Because I've been getting a decent amount of subscribers in the last few days and stuff, I kind of wanted to reintroduce myself, kind of explain about the car, the goals for the car, where it comes from, and kind of my background with the cars, and how I ended up with the S13. I bought my first car right out of high school. Now this is purchased, not first car I drove, not first car I technically had, but my first car that I initially purchased was out of high school. It was a 1983 Volkswagen Rabbit, 1.8 liter. When I first got into the car scene and I had the Rabbit, I didn't really know what I wanted, I guess. I did a little bit of everything. I was spray painting cars. Still spray paint cars. I spray painted the car, cut the springs, threw sub in it, like a little bit of everything. I had neon lights all in it, all that kind of stuff. Had that car for a while, wanted something faster, was making more money, was really looking into getting like a Civic. I wanted an SI, like a 2000 SI really bad. My brother told me, go check out a VR6 Mark III, VR6, you'll fall in love. And surely enough, I went, checked one out, bought the GTI the next day. So I had that car for a long time. That car went through a couple different stages from when I got it to when it got chopped up. So I had that car for a while. That's initially what allowed me to meet Aaron and Michael and Ryan and everyone you pretty much see here on the channel. So I jumped into an 88 CRX HF with a B18 swap and a B16 tranny. It was caged. It was champ white and it was gorgeous, and I loved that car. For God knows why, I decided to get rid of it and get into a lifted 85 straight axle. Thought I would be going through my grown-up stage, so I had an 85 Toyota 22R with the lift on 33s, straight axled. Had that for a while. Thought I was all grown up, and it bored the shit out of me. So sorry all you Toyota fans out there. I got into another tuner. It was a 1GB Eagle Talon with a Evo manifold, Evo turbo. Thing was just a monster. It drove like shit as far as handling goes, but it was so fun on the freeway. Itched to get into another VR. My buddy Aaron had picked up his Golf around the same time, and so he went back to Volkswagen, so I should go to Volkswagen. So I picked up the VR, fully built head, cams, everything. It was an amazing car. I loved that car. I ended up blowing it up, racing at like 130 miles an hour against the SR. We're doing like 120, 130 or some shit like that. Blew it up on the fucking freeway. Had enough speed to coast it almost all the way off the freeway. Pushed it to my girlfriend's mom's house. Towed it to my parents' house, and it sat on the side of the house for a while, and I ended up pulling everything out, putting a new motor in, yada yada, cleaning it all up, and fixed it up a little bit from there, got different wheels for it, and it was a fun car, but I think the fact that I did all that work just to get it running again, it's kind of killed me on that idea. I wanted something faster. It always itched at me that 240 pulled me like that. So I ended up getting my Mark IV. I had a KO4 180. Pretty much everything you could do to the car. And had that for a while. But that car I bought at nighttime. And I realized the next day when buying that car, what a mistake it is to buy a car at nighttime, especially a black car. I walked out the next morning and realized I bought a totally different car than I thought. Ended up trading that for my 95 GSR. I had a 4-door GSR, probably the cleanest car I've had to date. My biggest regret is getting rid of that car, by the way. And had that for a while, drove it, started cleaning things up a little bit. For the most part, it was clean. I wasn't planning on doing like nitrous or turbo on that car, and leaving it alone, just a simple build. And I started running into issues with the alarm going off. I didn't have a garage. I was scared people were going to steal it. Input shaft bearing started making noise, and I just started a new job, and I didn't want the transmission to go out on me, and I didn't have the time or space to do the swap and swap out the transmission. And I ended up selling it and buying what most of you know as my Mark V. I had my Mark V, bought it from a dealer, wanted something stock, reliable, and it always stayed reliable, but it didn't stay stock. While having the Mark V, I had a few other cars. I'm just going to try to run through them real quick. Golf, Mark IV Golf, 2-liter, had a Mark II, 8-valve, one or three other Mark IIIs, VRs. All the different cars, I did a bunch of different stuff to experiment. I did a roll-on paint job on one, went to put a cage in another one, a bunch of stuff like that basically. A bunch of other cars I fooled around with, but I never really fell for like them. I had them and then something would come up to where I could make a profit off of them, or I'd get bored of them, and so I'd let them go. And we're into drifting. My buddy Brian had just picked up his 350Z, so everyone I was hanging out with pretty much was driving real-wheel drive cars and having fun doing mad skids and stuff. So ended up picking a 85 Corolla SR5. I traded my VR for that car. Had a welded diff on it. I changed out the suspension on it, painted it, did a couple things to it. And while reliable and a good learning car, it was super slow, and so it was really easy for me to get bored with it. Up with the K2, the Golf, and found out that Kenny was selling this car, and I really wanted it, but I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't think I'd ever really get past smog with the swap and all this good stuff, and so I asked Aaron, kind of confided in Aaron, and asked him, what do you think? I really want to get a 240. I want to, this is a good deal. You can't buy 240s for cheap at all. How often am I going to be able to get a deal like this that someone wants to trade? And Aaron just basically said, just fucking do it and we'll make it work. So that's what I did. I just went into it blind, drove the car home barely. If you let off the gas at all, it would die. So I had to heel toe and beat the shit out of it all the way home. Pulled in the garage, it sat for like 2 months. Didn't touch the car, didn't have time. Caden was born, didn't have money. So the car just sat indefinitely for a while. And then as time went on, Caden got a little older. I started spending out some nights out in the garage, little by little, started pulling things apart, digging into it, deleting stuff. Michael would come over, help me with stuff. They kind of gave me a parts list of the stuff I should get, like the EGR delete plate and where I could get it from. So I did all that, put everything back together, spent a night adjusting the timing, getting all that figured out, making sure I had no more vacuum leaks, and I beat the piss out of it for like the last year pretty much. And it's proved itself sturdy. It's always had like maybe a little finicky stuff, but it's been reliable as hell for the beating that I've given it, and I think that's what's kind of changed my outlook on the car. I'd have to say, out of every car I've had, which I just listed, so you guys know I've had a decent amount of cars, the S13 by far is the best car that I've owned. Not reliability wise, not looks, not because it can drift or anything like that. It's pretty much because of all of it. I think with the Nissan, obviously everyone knows it's a great car or a good bias for most things. I wouldn't say just drifting. It is a great drift car. It has like a 50-40 weight distribution, and it's just, you can get it in a 240 and it's meant to slide. But I think if you're looking to get into cars in general and you want something that can kind of do it all, there's not a whole lot of cars that can, and I believe the 240 is kind of a jack of all trades. I can relate to it really well. I've never been the best at anything that I do, but I've always been pretty decent at everything, and that's kind of how I feel about the car. It's enough to where I can take it around town and breaks necks, gets attention. I can hard park it, I can drift it. Now I can actually compete in a straight line with it as well with the turbo. It has a little kick to it, you know. So you know that's kind of why I fell in love with this car. Initially, I got the car really thinking it would be a really cool bonding experience with me and my friends and stuff like that. But truth be told, a lot of the time spent in the car had been just me and the car, which it never had really been like that before. Um, Most of the car stuff that I've done before with my older cars, I always had a lot of help with a lot of friends, and this car not so much. Um, I've had help as far as like research and stuff like that, but it's actually hands on the car. It's been mostly me and my brother. My brother's done a lot of the fabrication stuff for me and allowed me to bounce ideas off of him. And even though he's pro Volkswagen, he still puts up with my shit. So yeah, I think with that, I think that's what's allowed me to kind of build a strong bond with this car. Is like I've 100% done what I want with this car. It's not the prettiest or anything like that, but I always felt like my Mark V kind of got away from me. Kind of got built into the people's car. It's one of those cars that is seen correct, Instagram favorite, all that kind of stuff. Whereas this car, I just 100% did on my budget what I could afford, what I thought was cool, like what I could do. I mean, and it's come a long time. It's come a long way in the last year. From not running and sitting in my garage to where it is right now. And I think within the next year or so, it'll even get crazier. So that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I know it's kind of probably a boring video. I kind of just wanted to give you guys a little bit of talk about where I'm from, kind of the cars I have, and why I appreciate this car so much. Like I said before, as soon as the stuff comes here to finish the FMU setup, we'll do some driving of the car, I'll slide it, do some pulls, all that fun stuff for you guys. If you have any questions at all about the kit, how it fits, all that kind of stuff, go ahead and comment below. If you guys have any other questions about any of the other cars that I listed, I'm pretty much well knowledgeable. I mean, they all had issues, so I worked on all of them. So I'm more than willing to help you guys with that. See you guys next time.